Welcome, friends. Today I will share with you a heartbreaking and powerful story. The police station was filled with whispers when the report came in. My 3-year-old son was missing. My ex-husband stood there, his voice sharp and cold as he said, "She's an unfit mother. Probably sold him for drug money." The officer's eyes turned on me, and my mother-in-law's bitter words cut through the air. I always knew she'd be the downfall of those kids. I sat frozen on the hard chair, my hands trembling, tears burning my eyes. No one believed me. It felt like the whole world had turned against me, and the weight of false blame crushed my chest. I wanted to scream, but my voice was locked inside my grief. Then, in the silence of the room, my 7-year-old daughter stepped forward. Her little hands shook, but her eyes carried the courage of a lion. She looked straight at the officer, took a deep breath, and said with a voice so pure it silenced everyone, "Officer, should I show you where Daddy really hid my little brother?" The room went quiet. The officer stopped writing. My ex's face turned pale. In that single moment, my daughter's truth shattered all the lies, and hope lit up in my broken heart again. Friends, if this scene touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And remember, you are watching Soul of Kindness. Welcome, friends. The officer slowly leaned forward, his pen slipping from his hand as the weight of my daughter's words echoed through the room. Everyone stared at her, this tiny child with trembling lips, yet unshakable courage. My heart raced, torn between fear and hope. "Sweetheart," the officer said softly, "can you show us?" My little girl nodded, her eyes filling with tears but her voice steady. "Daddy told me not to tell, but I can't let Mommy cry anymore. I know where he hid my brother." Gasps filled the air. My ex-husband's face twisted with anger, but before he could speak, the officer signaled 2 policemen to hold him back. My mother-in-law sank into her chair, speechless, her confidence shattered. I reached for my daughter's hand, tears streaming down my face. I whispered, "You are braver than anyone I've ever known." She squeezed my hand and whispered back, "Mommy, I just want us to be happy again." The entire station fell silent, waiting for her next words. The lies that had nearly destroyed me were unraveling, thread by thread, because of the truth carried in the heart of a 7-year-old girl. Now, friends, if this touched your heart, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And remember, you are watching Soul of Kindness. Welcome, friends. The police officers exchanged tense glances, their notebooks forgotten as they gathered around my daughter. One of them bent down gently, his voice calm. "Show us, little one. Where is your brother?" With tiny steps, she walked forward, clutching my hand tightly. I could feel her heartbeat racing through her palm, yet her courage carried her forward. She led the officers toward the back door of the station, pointing through the glass window at my ex-husband's car, parked outside. Her voice shook, but the truth in it made the whole room still. "Daddy locked him inside the old storage shed. The one near Grandma's house. He said nobody would ever look there. But I heard him on the phone. I heard everything." A heavy silence fell. The officers immediately rushed into action, dispatching units, starting their radios. My ex's mask of arrogance shattered, his face drained of color. He shouted, "She's lying. She's just a child." But his voice cracked under the weight of panic. I collapsed to my knees, sobbing, unable to believe that my innocent daughter had carried this secret in her tiny heart. She knelt beside me, cupped my face in her small hands, and whispered through her own tears, "Mommy, don't cry. We'll get him back." I promised I'd protect him. Even the toughest police officers turned away, blinking back tears at the sight. A little girl carrying the courage of a warrior, speaking truth when no one else dared. In that moment, she wasn't just my daughter. She was my savior. And friends, if this scene moved you, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And remember, you are watching Soul of Kindness. Welcome, friends. Sirens wailed in the distance as the police convoy raced toward the old storage shed. My daughter sat in the back of the patrol car, her little hands pressed together in prayer. I sat beside her, tears streaming down my face, whispering over and over, "Please, God, let him be safe. Please." When we arrived, the shed looked dark, abandoned and lifeless. The officers broke the rusty lock, and the door creaked open with a chilling sound. My heart nearly stopped. For a moment there was silence. Then a faint cry echoed from the shadows inside. "Mommy, Mommy." It was my son, my beautiful boy. I rushed forward, my legs trembling, and scooped him into my arms. His tiny body shook from fear, but when his arms wrapped around my neck, I felt life return to my soul. "I thought you would never find me," he whispered in a broken voice. My daughter ran to us, wrapping her little arms around her brother, both of them crying, both of them clinging to me as if they would never let go again. The officers watched quietly, their eyes wet, as the truth finally shattered all the lies. Behind us, my ex was dragged away in handcuffs. His head bowed, his secrets exposed for the world to see. But in that moment I no longer saw him. All I saw was my children, my brave, innocent children who had fought through darkness to bring our family back together. I kissed them both, whispering through my sobs, "You saved each other. And you saved me." And for the first time in what felt like forever, hope filled the air, brighter than the morning sun. And friends, if this final scene touched your soul, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment and share. And always remember, you are watching Soul of Kindness. Welcome friends, the night after my son was found. The house was quiet, but not the same kind of quiet it had been when he was missing. This was the quiet of safety, the quiet of peace, returning after a storm. My children lay beside me, their tiny hands clutching mine, as if letting go would make them lose me again. I sat on the floor with them wrapped in a blanket, staring at their innocent faces. My daughter whispered softly, "Mommy, are you happy now?" My tears spilled over, but this time they were not from pain. They were from gratitude. "Yes, sweetheart. Happier than I've ever been. Because of you, I have both of you safe in my arms." The police had already confirmed everything. My ex would face justice for his cruelty and lies. The same officers who once doubted me now bowed their heads in apology, telling me they had never seen such courage in a child. But the real truth was this. My daughter had carried a burden no child should ever carry. She had been the voice of truth when no one believed me, and her bravery saved her brother's life. As I rocked them both to sleep, I whispered a promise over their heads. "From this day forward, I will never let anyone break us apart again. You are my strength, my heart, and my reason to keep fighting. Our story will not end in pain. It will begin again in love." The world outside still had its darkness, but in that moment, inside my little home, I felt the light of a new beginning. And friends, if this scene touched your heart, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And remember, you are watching Soul of Kindness.